Also, start counting up in your head. We had this little contest of the most recruits, and I'm going to have to disqualify myself. I think how many people would sign up and say I recruited him, got him to come to the meetings? Anybody? 1, 2. Come on. 3. All right. All right. Can anybody beat 3 for this meeting? Okay.
I'll have 1.
1. All right. Well, I'm disqualifying myself, so you get custody. You only get it for a quarter, though. You have to bring it back in 3 months or whatever. But yes, I'm Bruce Neiden. I am the fairly new president of the North Bay Electric Auto Association, and my predecessor, Alan Soule, president for 4 or 5 years, is here also. Yeah. I'm glad you all made it. I was a little bit worried because I know a lot of people are doing vacations, and several of the folks from our partners from the various nonprofits that support movements against increased carbon emissions and global climate change. So anyway, I'm very happy with the turnout, and I'm going to try to keep to the schedule. We have a couple of guest speakers today. Alan's going to talk a little bit about the ADE Days race that's coming up. And we also have an electric tractor demo by our generous host, Brian Hahl, who's been hosting the meetings here for quite a few years now. So thank you, Brian. All right. So I'm just going to kind of shoot through these, and then anybody else that has announcements that I didn't get put on this list, let me know, or just raise your hand. Our esteemed city captain, Mike Newell, has a major work project that conflicts with Drive Electric Week. So we're sad to lose him as the city captain for Drive Electric Week this year. So we're either looking for volunteer replacement or discussing an alternative plan for an event. So, Mike, do you want to comment?
Yeah, a little more because so we've done Drive Electric Week for 4 years now, and I think as we all know, it's been a really good event for us to educate the public and get more EV drivers and even club members. So thanks. I know we have people in the room who met us at Drive Electric Week. But as I said to the other committee members we've had from last year, the event that we've been putting on is a fair amount of work. I'm not saying that to discourage anyone. If somebody wants to be a city captain for us this year, I know we'll have still people who can participate in the committee. But putting on an event like we've done at Cottingtown we've been at Cottingtown 3 years and down at Petaluma 1 year. I just want to say is we have to actually get started now, and that's the problem. Is I can't donate enough time or give it enough time right now to do all the planning that's needed. But if we want to do the same kind of thing, then all I'll just say is we've got to be going right now. We don't have to do that kind of event. We've wanted to do that as a chapter because we've been wanting to, get more drivers in electric cars. But to be doing an event for Drive Electric Week, it could be anything. Some of the chapters, have just a tailgate party or a parade, driving through the county or something in our electric cars. So I think as a chapter, we could decide anything we want to do. What I'm just saying is, we have to. If we're going to do a big event, then we do need a new city captain, and we'd have to get started right away. And I'm certainly still available to be a participant, but it is just a lot of work to do the same kind of thing. So I think first of all, we should just decide, if we want that kind of a big event, or if we want to do something still scaled down. As Bruce has mentioned, there's the anniversary of the Bodega Marine Lab is that week, and we certainly could say that our Drive Electric Week, event is something related to that or something else, but we'd have to pick, because one of the things that the national chapter wants is us to get on their website and say whether we are or aren't having an event, and you have to say where it's going to be, and just a few things to get registered as an event location. And so anyways, that's my spiel for where we're at. We really haven't started anything tangible for this year, and we'd like to at least decide what we're going to do.
What's the date?
Okay, thanks, Brian. So the date is the week that encompasses September 10th to 18th. So that's 2 weekends and a week. So we can pick any time in there. My wife's birthday is September 10th, so if we pick that day, then I'm really not going to do anything. But anyway, the
I'm
rest of
sorry
it.
to laugh.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to laugh,
I
but
was like, no,
good call, Mike.
All right, so I just wanted to say that because we probably won't do anything unless other folks come forward and say, hey, this is what we want to do. Or unless people want to get together and at least have a decision meeting around what we'll do. Although maybe let's do it here in a chapter meeting. All right.
Anybody want to interject any short comments here? I have one that I'll add regarding, Ken?
What about the possibility of partnering with Snow Clean Power, since they seem to be wanting to get, the education of EVs out to the public? It seems to me that there's a huge source there of people power and influence and potential sponsors. Because that was the biggest thing, was just setting the space and all the logistics. And the other committee members, we were just contacting the dealers, getting them on board, getting the money. So if we could maybe partner with them, I think that'd be huge. And they would certainly, we could leverage that whole event, and they'd get a lot of exposure too, which I think is what they're looking for.
Okay. The one comment I was going to add is it's kind of coincidental that BML Bodega Marine Lab is having its 50-year anniversary on the same week, but it's going to be a big event. That whole Bodega Bay area is going to be jammed up with cars. Janet Napolitano, the president of the UC system, is going to be doing a visit and a private event on, I think it's on the Saturday there. I put feelers out to the lab to see if there was even any suggestion. My thought was to maybe, with Eugene and Guy Hall's help, is possibly bring UC Davis's, electric stuff, their whole electric concept. They've got a whole, village over there that's solar powered and cars and fuel cells. But I see the problem is just parking space. I mean, it's getting so jammed up even on weekdays and weekends with people coming to the beach these days. So it's likely to, not fly unless we could figure out some alternate place to hold it or keep it short enough that we could target a time when it's going to be quiet, the early part of the week or mid part of the week. Okay, so that's my comment. I'll look into it further, and it may not even be an option, but it just seemed like a cool idea to investigate. But I like the idea of getting Sonoma Clean Power to help and maybe even provide some finances to make it a big deal. Let's see, there was an article about Sonoma Clean Power. Did everybody catch that? Press Democrat. I'm not an expert, but I've been sitting in on the meetings, and the gist that I got was initially the board was going to kind of force or leverage Sonoma Clean Power staff to take all their revenues and store them so that they would be more secure and have better bank rates. But they've done exceedingly well. Their expectations, met the goals even before the time period. So they have revenues. They've got a compromise where there's about $3.5 million that will be earmarked for programs, and I think much of that program money is going to go to EV charging stations, and other programs are for EV outreach training. So Ken's suggestion there is a good hook right there. If we can just get them to get some input from us, the EV drivers. Now, I might be off base, but if we consider our whole membership, I'm guessing we easily have amongst us 2 million EV miles driven in the last couple of decades in 24 brands of electric cars. Anybody disagree with that guess? I mean, that's based on, I mean, I put 25,000 miles on in 18 months, and I've only, been driving for a year or two, and some of you guys have been doing it for decades, like Brian, Alan. Anyway, so that's, let's see about that. PG&E time of use changes. Anybody following the sort of solar initiatives? Do you want to?
Yeah, so we're grid ties.
Just next to him.
Uh,
If you stand next to him, then.
we can be.
Yeah, there we go.
This is good.
Grid tied solar system. Talk to our solar installer. SolarWorks in Sebastopol, and our bill has gone to about $200 a month now. So something's funky with their system, but they looked at it and said we're producing what we're supposed to be producing, so we're cutting. We've got 3 electric vehicles we're charging, so it's getting a little expensive now. But they recommended go to the E6 because that's going to go away soon. They can always change over to the EV residential rate. So we're going to go to E6 rate. The time of use. Prices, I think, were 18 cents a kilowatt hour peak time during summer. So there's 3 charges, 3 time phases and all that. Same with both systems. We'll do the E6 rating, try that out for a month or 2, and then probably switch over to the residential EV rate, which may require a meter change. We don't have the smart meter yet, because when we first put the solar system on in, we had to buy a specific meter, pay out $300 for it. They wanted to take it away with a smart meter, and I said, right after you reimburse me for the one you made me buy, we can do that. So they haven't called me back. So that's it.
What are you on now?
Residential
You're on the E7.
E7. It's got phased out though.
Yeah, E7, right?
Yeah, that's phased out. They're going to phase out E6.
So I get basically the same thing as
Right.
to the E6. Seemed like the right one.
Right. Yes.
I'm new to the state, just moved down from Washington State, and starting to get, I've got a couple of evaluations that are scheduled from Solar City, Sun Run, and I'm going to get a third one. Are the rates subjected to specific areas of the state, or is it just statewide, all these rates?
Well, you got 2 different major power in Southern California.
Southern Cal Edison.
Edison. Up here it's Pacific Gas and Electric. No, it's
So it's not my little area then?
no. I mean, we can do the community aggregate. You can do Sonoma Clean Power, which actually, if you do the regular one, you're saving a couple of percent better than what PG&E's offering. But PG&E found a workaround to that. They tag on an extra fee because you're not buying their power anymore, basically it. And if you go to the 100% renewables, that is more expensive than your regular PG&E bill by not much, but a little bit. So.
And am I correct in understanding that some of this is going to be going away in a couple of months, or going to change structures?
Yeah, some of the rate stuff they are changing, like the E6 is going to go away, so I have to opt in now in order to retain it. And if I don't opt in by the end of the month, I'm never going to be able to go back to it. So we'll have to choose one of the time of use one, or time of use, what's the other one? B, A or B?
EVA residential, I think, is the time of use.
Yeah, so the time of use is important because you want to be able to, manage when you're using the power. You want your solar producing during the peak hours, and you want to have that surplus. So you bank those hours. PG's never going to write me a check, but they'll bank the hours for use later on, and we draw it at night when it's cheaper. But some of those times get to be ridiculous, like up until 9 o'clock at night before you start getting the cheaper rates. So yeah.
I've heard that there's some possibility that they'll be changing the window of hours that represent peak to later in the day, because in fact there's so many people generating electricity.
Yeah, they're having a hard time managing the electricity that's coming from the solar because it's not consistent all the time. One of them, I think the E6 is 1 to 7. is peak, and then they'll do 5 to 8 on the weekends, and then there's a morning time. There's partial peak.
So if you really want to take advantage of the solar, then when the sweet part of the day is, you need, the ideal would be to have some way of storing that energy in a battery and using it.
Well, if you're a grid tied system, you're not going to get credit for production unless it goes back to the grid.
Right, yeah.
But if you can store the energy. What is Tesla, Alan? Where's their pack? Their home energy store?
8, is it 6?
I think it's 7 for the daily use pack. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
Kilowatt hour, can be stored.
So it depends. I mean, the biggest thing is just really monitor what your usage is. Get your house as efficient as possible before you spend the money on solar, and then you can really figure out what you have going. But I mean, yeah.
If you have solar, I highly recommend you go to Sonoma Clean Power. If you think you produce more than what you use on an annual basis. Yesterday, I just got a check for $450 from Sonoma Clean Power.
Yeah.
And I have exactly the same solar system now that I've had for 8 years, and I never received a check from PG.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my question too.
6.7.
We'll never receive, we're on
big.
PG&E too, you never receive a check.
Yeah, you know.
It's just credit.
Yeah, $30 a credit.
Well, no, but that's how it
Pennies
is.
on the dollar.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and it's only a fraction of.
Yeah, I mean, when we first installed our system in 2005, our bill for the whole year was $300. Our system is a 4.8, and it's not the best orientation, so we were never going to get more power than what we used. I think it provides about 75 to 80% of our needs, but now the bill has just steadily gone up, and we're trying to figure.
And you let PG&E do the rate comparison.
They did a rate comparison. My solar did a rate comparison. I can call Sonoma Clean Power. They'll come out and check it out. We can just historically look at the bills and see what we're using. We did add, a spa and it can be more efficient.
Well, they run it through the different programs, and it will tell you exactly how much you pay and how much each rate is.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that?
From PG&E yet? No.
They will do it.
Right.
You
So
just have to demand it.
okay.
Because you want it on paper, this, what it is.
Right.
And they'll look at your last year and your charging and everything.
Yeah, and I never have told them that we have EVs charging yet,
Doesn't
so it doesn't matter. So
They're happy.
that's right.
Dan,
Yeah.
Is the E6 rate, if you opt into it now, I
Yeah.
understood that they were gonna allow you to have that until like 2022.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right?
2020.
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah. So you get 3 or 4 years time to see if that's going to work for you or not.
Because I talked to PG&E and they said a lot of people were thinking going from E7 to E6 was the best overall thing,
Depending, if you're producing more, during the peak hours, you want that rate. If you're not, which we're not, because we're consuming more than we produce, I want to find the most affordable for me.
So
Sure.
I'm adding solar, I'm adding a considerable, about twice as much as I have already, and it won't be in place until September. Now, my installer said that there might be some way that I could get in the queue, get a reservation, so that even though that solar won't be operational until.
I guess if you can show them the work that's going to be done, what's going to be installed, how large the system's going to be, what kind of power you expect to produce, if you, like I said, get it in writing from PG&E and see if they can hold that rate for you. Don't know why they would, but didn't hurt to ask.
I thought that was one of the things that was under discussion, was whether they would take reservations, and if so, how many they would take, whether there'd be a cutoff, but I haven't heard anything back.
Well, good luck.
Yeah. These are the exact questions that I'm fielding, as is, I think, Jeffrey Smith from Center for Climate Protection, who's the lead for the EV program. So both of us have just gotten, I actually applied, I added a bid, and one of the vetted contractors of the 3-for-1 thing, there's a little handout here. You can get 3 vetted contractors randomly picked by Sonoma, or by Center for Climate Protection. I did that, added one that I also knew because I've been talking with, and one of the vetted vendors didn't come through. He came out, but didn't provide the proposal. I have my proposals ready for review. There's a guy named Elliot Whitehurst that's with the county of Sonoma, has a special office. He's a non-biased reviewer of contracts. He's had like 10, 12 years in the solar industry, and he's available just to talk to you and compare notes. I had a meeting scheduled for him on Monday. He found out they have training on new county software for the next 3 days. So anyway, they are there. He seems very nice guy. He is unbiased, stated unbiased. So,
Alrighty.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Center for Climate Protection had a symposium down in San Jose in March that had Lyndon Reef of Solar City spoke, and about this type of rate use. He made this great presentation talking about how the whole solar revolution has to be sort of a phased-in thing with the storage coming next. So the storage issue is not really right now central to what they're working on. And then it's called smart inverters would be the next thing to get the whole thing smart. But his comment, I just wanted to share this. This was really interesting because there's a big group of people at the symposium, and really the comment he made was, if you can do your laundry during high solar hours in the middle of the day, the best thing to do is set your washing machine to do your clothes, and when your solar system is working.
Yep. Yeah, I attended that. Also, I was kind of surprised, but I understand what he was saying about, it has to be sort of a gradual transition for you to minimize the pushback from the utility companies, I think. Yeah. Okay, so Solar Impulse, anybody been following that? I brought this up because I had a brush with greatness. I was walking down the road and I find this 2015 brand new manufactured plate Tesla parked behind the crab and chowder place. And there's this bald-headed guy over the navigation screen. And, two women, another guy, they get out, they're all speaking French. And 8 hours earlier, the Solar Impulse had just landed early in the morning at Moffett Field. So I came back, checked with John Pomerly, one of our members, who was invited to come down and see the showing, and he confirmed, yes, they were each of the pilots had a Tesla for a week, and not a black one as shown in the demo. So that was pretty interesting. If you haven't looked at the Solar Impulse website, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. They're doing live videos from the aircraft and on the ground. I just mentioned that I would repost. Somebody from Evatrans said they're looking for a marketing sales type person in the Pacific Northwest to market the inductive chargers that Dave talked about at one of our last meeting. And if you're interested, I can dig out the emails and you can follow up on it. The rideshare, I'm going to make my 6th trip up to Friday Harbor, stopping at Eugene. Anybody wants to ride, I'm going to leave early on the morning of the 30th and go up the supercharger route. I'm going to stay with family in Eugene, so that person would have to jump off and stay at a hotel in Eugene. But there's possibility that if I've got car seats, you can ride all the way up to Friday Harbor is where I'm headed. I've got a ferry reservation for June 1 to Friday Harbor, and depending on seat availability, I'm happy to take people along. I'm looking. I want to get a big poster size map, get it laminated, that's just got the county on it, that we can put little sticky dots on and label them. I would like to develop a questionnaire with the club's input and build some GIS layers and have like Sonoma County Land Trust add it to their mapping service that basically shows the travel patterns of current EV owners and identifies the holes where people are basically not going with their EV because they can't get from point A to point B, and how to
You might go by the building department. They have large, laminated maps of the county,
great.
so they would know. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yep. I have to go by there to get a permit next week. Thank you. That's a good idea. Okay, Tesla factory tours. Willard McDonald, I should announce, by the way, he's expecting a daughter in a couple of days and couldn't come to the meeting. But he told me that you can get one of the $80 Tesla factory tours through the Intersolar conference. And I attended the conference last year. Didn't go on the tour because it was all filled up then. But I did get part of a tour when I picked up my car. And it's a great opportunity. It's worth the $80. But navigating through the Intersolar exhibition thing is very complicated, and it's not really clear, but it doesn't stop you from purchasing a ticket without actually joining, signing up for the whole conference. So,
Okay, so the deal on that is I happened upon this by pure luck. Any Tesla owner has the right or whatever, has the ability to take a tour when they want. You can Google Tesla tours, and you just give them your VIN, and you can take 3 guests. So if anybody that doesn't have a Tesla knows somebody that does, they can get in there. Very direct and simple. I did it for this 80-day thing.
that's good to know. I actually had some problems because they kept slipping the delivery date up till the night before. They canceled I had 4 people lined up to go. 2 of them couldn't go because they canceled on me the night before. Your car's not going to be ready. It was those dang Model X's. They were like putting them on the production line. They messed everything up, and yeah. So clearly it didn't do any good, right? Well, we better edit that statement out. Okay. Let's see. So I just kind of was asking around about possible alternative locations in the event that we needed to do a public demonstration. I love that we can meet here in this literally a museum of electric vehicles. But I checked in I saw all the solar over at the Sebastopol Community Center and the Youth Center, and thought, well, what if we try to set up an EAA junior member club there and teach some courses to parents and so on? And they actually have a fee. It's like $45 per meeting night. And I was telling them, well, we're broke. We're a nonprofit, and I'm feeling like nonprofits now are trying to make money off of the other nonprofits. Everybody's broke, and they're all trying to charge nonprofits, like this Driven to Perfection event for the seniors home. But I'm hoping that maybe we can work something out in the future where we might be able to have sort of a group class for the community and maybe participate more in the Sebastopol community level.
Consider CHOPS.
CHOPS.
The community center for teens over in Santa Rosa Railroad Square
I haven't, no.
area. So it's a kind of
Spe-
clubhouse for teens. They'll do demonstrations there sometimes. They'll do life skill classes for the kids and a place for them to hang out. So yeah.
CHOPS? Okay. Great. All right. Any other announcements from the membership? Short announcements? No? Okay.
I have one.
Yeah, please.
So, my wife and I are looking to donate our 2002 RAV4 EV. We found this organization that's opening an electric vehicle only museum on Route 66 in Kingman, Arizona. It's called the Historical Electric Vehicle Foundation. So we're in negotiations to get it shipped out to Arizona, and since they're the only ones that have there, we contacted California Auto Museum and Peterson's. Peterson says, we've got 2. We don't even put them on display. California Museum said, well, we might sell a car for fundraising. So no guarantee they'll keep it, but these guys in Arizona said that they want it, and we're going to keep it on display. So hopefully we'll get that done within a month.
Did you get a donation?
Yeah, we'll get a donation. We're having it appraised right now. We had a guy come out and,
Raise it?
well, yeah, you have to have it appraised. You can't just say it's worth, $100,000. Darn.
That little, huh?
That little. At one time. So we'll let you, but check them out. It's EVF.org and see the website. And they really have kind of a neat collection of old, and I think this is probably one of the newer ones that they've had. So if you're looking to donate a leaf, maybe. Right.
There's a vote coming up. Just if you haven't looked at the Calcea website regarding Assembly Bill, what's the number on it? I never remember that. Aebi 2339. It's pretty important about continuation of solar programs. Okay, I mentioned this. So this is my brush with greatness. This is the car that was parked in my regular walking tour. This is the Crab Shack. This is the way every weekday now it's just jammed full of cars. But brand new car, manufacturer plates. I said, who's this? Especially who's this that can't figure out how to drive the car? So, and then also I did a sort of a one-man show over for Kaiser Permanente Vacaville. It got handed from Guy Hahl at the Sacramento EV Club. Vacaville, I think, is kind of midway. But it was a small turnout, 200 or so folks during the lunch hour. It was kind of a blow-down event. Even the Mr. Upright guy was like breakdancing. He was like going to the music playing across the quad there. But all right, so Friday Harbor STEM class, I've gone up twice now. I did a couple months ago. I stopped by. I did a tour with John Mullally, who's a Stanford polymer scientist who bought one of these Leafs off lease and brought it over, and the two of us gave a car show back then. And then I did another one for middle schoolers, which was a hoot. These are like right out of the Tesla, kids driving page. A friend of mine took the photos. He's the new STEM program facilities manager. He's great photographer. All the kids have braces. Driven to Perfection is in 2 weeks. Anybody that wants to help the four or five of us that are exhibiting cars would be appreciated. It's a long event. If the sun comes out, it's hot. There's no pop-up canopies allowed, but if you can help us out, that would be great. And you can expect to be charged whatever the entrance fee is to get in and help, because they charge the exhibitors a fee. They keep asking for a home charging unit to demonstrate how electric cars charge. So I'm kind of looking for somebody that might have a kit that's not installed yet, or if Arcadie's got a Mobi charger, one of those rollable battery pack things up here, just something that we can show how the cars are plugged in. And I suggested they just give us a 110 outlet, and I'd plug in the Tesla adapter or something. If you've got ideas, that'd be great. June 11, I think we're still on for a field trip to the solar-powered quarry at Soils or Materials, and I'm planning to just do the tour, not really have a meeting. I had ambitious plans to get like 25 people and guarantee us a meeting room on the upper floor of Washoe House, but I'm not sure that I can drum up that many folks. So I think what I'd like to do is just get a head count, approximately how many people are going or would be willing to go on the Soylent Quarry, electric quarry tour, and down the road a couple miles to Washoe House, which is a Civil War era historic monument. It's pretty cool. It's back when Santa Rosa and Petaluma almost went to war, and they got together with guns and ended up drinking themselves and falling asleep, and the wives had to get them, according to the lore. So that's the 11th field trip. Anybody here now want to commit and say they would like to go for sure? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Okay, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I'm gonna let Nina know that so far we've got about a dozen that will come as walk-ins. I just want to give them a heads up. She said if we had too big of a group, she needed to have a planned menu. So I'll start with a couple dozen. If you decide you want to go or know of somebody going, tell them to just let me know so I can give them the info. Otherwise, we'll be probably waiting for our food for a long time. July 9, is anybody going to be here? Eager? Midsummer? Want to postpone, jump over this one and go straight to the August meeting? I think that was all for the June. Wasn't it for the June one? Or I know. I asked cancel the meeting or maybe an alternate plan. You know, like a field trip or something. Anybody still like to? Was it? You have the connection with Calpine?
Yeah, so I talked to Kevin last week, and originally when he asked them that the facility was still closed, well, they have 3 out of the 5 towers operating now, one burned down, and so they said, yeah, you can just go to the website. And I asked him this about, do you have charging up there? He says, no, it's been a corporate decision that we won't have chargers there because we have to put them in all the facilities, and they've decided at this time not to install chargers up there, which ridiculous, of course. But he said you can just go to the website and arrange a time and tour.
Okay. Well, I for one would really like to see that place, and it would probably be good to get as many folks as we can, unless they have an unlimited number of opportunities to sign up for tours.
Yeah,
I'll
check it on the website.
Okay. All right. Well, if you want to kind of pick a date, what you think might be a good one.
Okay.
And just not November. I won't be here,
Yes.
and I want to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so how about a vote on? Do we want to schedule a field trip? Certainly, could do a field trip somewhere for July 9. Want to do a field trip? Anybody got an idea? Want to take the reins and set it up? Okay, so it sounds like we're getting.
Let's see what we get for Calpine, but I think the other one that Ryan mentioned one time when he was telling us was the dairy down in
Strauss? Strauss, okay.
You said they have a lot of electric gizmos.
Yeah, he
Uh-huh.
had a Leaf for a long time. Oh no, sorry, RAV4. RAV4.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he ran into a cow, but he has another one, and he has a digester that he collects his natural gas or methane on. And so yeah, he's pretty cool.
Uh-huh. And yeah, I actually had another thought too, but I don't want to impose. Nick's getting into this carbon capture initiative of the char was it biochar? I was going to say charbroil, you know, like, but maybe sometime in the future, at your convenience, if you'd entertain a
Yeah, I'll have to
club.
work it out with the Sonoma Ecology Center because they own the machine that's on my property.
Okay, all right. Cool. All right, well, it sounds like there will be a July meeting, and we've got a behind-the-scenes committee that's going to work something out. Sound good? Want to be fair, you know. Okay, so photos from last year's Antique Auto Show. Lots of cool cars. If you're my age and were a kid, they've got the car that you always wanted as a kid. 58 Corvette, maybe, Mustang, 65. And then we have, next up is our Alan Soule.
Okay, so real quick, that car now is somewhere on the water. It's on its way to Rotterdam for this 80 days event. And here is the map where we'll be going. I've done this before, but just real quick, I've more solidified the route. We start here in Barcelona, head over to, that's right, I keep forgetting this thing's here. Head over to Lisbon, where we put the cars on a plane to Halifax, down the east coast to New York, across to Chicago, and then down to St. Louis, and take I-70 across, because that's where the superchargers are, and I want to take advantage of the limited amount of fast charging I can do. And then back up to 80 through Salt Lake and down to San Francisco and LA, and then LA to Guangzhou, China. And then actually that's where the group sort of splits up a little bit. Actually just the one Roadster and I are the only people who cannot fast charge in China, because Tesla has European style fast chargers there. So they're going up the coast to Hangzhou, which is where the equivalent of Amazon called Alibaba is headquartered. And apparently Alibaba is going to put on a big event there for the whole group, minus the two of us. So then we just go straight north to Wuhan and Xi'an, and then through Lanzhou and Urumqi into Kazakhstan, up through Kazakhstan, north into Russia, the Russian Federation, I think is the official name now, and then into the Ukraine and down to Bucharest. And the reason we're making this sort of detour is the organizer of ADE Days has an office there. So he figures, well, we got to have an event at his office. So we go to Bucharest and then up through Budapest, Prague, down through Munich, Zurich, then to Venice. We have a function in Venice, and then pretty much Venice, the shortest route back to Barcelona. And we all want to do that in 80 days or less. And I figured it out. We can do it, barring any unforeseen problems, like getting across a border, or running into a 2-foot chuck hole or something like that and tearing out your suspension. I mean, apparently in Kazakhstan, that's a realistic problem, potential problem. So here's the stuff that's in the car now. It's sort of interesting. I have a Roadster, and I took a road trip in it, so I had a lot of road trip type stuff. And the European, well, unfortunately, there were 2 Roadsters, but just recently one of them dropped out. And they did not have the road trip type stuff. So this is in my car now. Not much I can do about it because it's on the water. But here's a rack for the Roadster charging cable, an extension cord. Actually, I can use that for the Model S as well. But here's a CHAdeMO, I keep doing this, a CHAdeMO adapter. Fortunately, there are several, many CHAdeMO DC Fast Chargers in Europe, so I'll be able to use that in Europe. These are, I'll show you a close-up of these. There's a fellow named Henry Sharp in Vermont that makes these adapters for the Roadster, which are very cool. You can plug a J1772. There are 3 different types. One is for a J1772. One is for the European. The J1772 is referred to as a Type 1 connection. The European style, which is different, and I'll show you, is referred to as a Type 2 connection. And then there's a style for the Tesla destination chargers, both here and in Europe. And so those really help out Roadster's charging. Let's see, what else do I have? My little danger high voltage sign there to keep the predators away. It's going to be really hot, probably in the central U.S. and virtually everywhere else till we get to Central Europe again. It's probably going to be over 100 degrees every day. So I have those shields, or whatever you want to call them, for the windows. Here's, sorry, sort of hard to see, but a little portable compressor thing in case I have a tire problem. And I think that's all the interesting stuff. Cooler. So anyway, it's taken a lot to prepare. The Swiss guy that has the Roadster is putting together our general charging stuff that we have. It includes a distribution box in virtually the rest of the world except for the US and I think maybe Japan, but we're not going to Japan. They use 400 volt three-phase power. You get it in 16 amp, 32 amp, and 63 amps. So, and 63 amp three-phase power is not unusual. A house will have that. And certainly most businesses will have it. So this distribution box we can connect to, either plug in or connect to the circuit breaker, and it distributes it to two 16 amp three-phase and two 32 amp three-phase sockets for us to plug into. So that'll work out pretty well. So let's see. So here are these Henry Sharp adapters. These over here is the European style connection. It's sort of hard to see, but here's the J1772, and you can't really see these at all, but that is a Tesla Model S style female connection there. So these are really a big help for a Roadster, which can't use any fast charging at all. Okay, so here are my co-drivers. The rules say that I have to have a co-driver for the entire trip. I'm the only one actually that has more than one. It was sort of difficult to find somebody who wanted to go the whole trip. Kazakhstan is not on everybody's A list for places to go. So, so this is a woman who's a friend of a friend who's going to go from Halifax to San Francisco here. Here's a young woman that I met on a trip to China. It's sort of a funny story there. I thought, well, it'd be nice. She hasn't traveled anywhere, including in China. And I thought, well, okay, it'll be fun for her to see China, right? So I asked her, I said, hey, you want to drive with me from Guangzhou to Urumqi? And she goes, oh, yeah. I said, oh, by the way, you do have a driver's license, right? Oh, no, I don't have one. So I'm going to be doing all the driving in China. So anyway, then this fella is somebody who Brian may know. Do you know Don Christian? Yeah. Okay, so he worked at Coda. Yeah. So he's a friend of Ron Freund, who is the president of the National EAA. And Ron told him about all this, and he contacted me, and we got together. And not only is he somehow familiar with electric vehicles through Coda, but he likes to travel. He traveled to Mongolia last year. So, so it's good. I think he'll be really good for Kazakhstan, Russia, and the Ukraine, and part of Romania to get to Bucharest. And then these are two friends of mine that go to Europe a lot, and they requested that they travel from Bucharest back to Barcelona. So just real quick, I'll go through the teams. This is Markus. He's the one I've been working with closely on putting together charging for our two cars and the Chinese car, which also outside of China cannot fast charge. He's going to drive his blue Roadster. And then here's the organizer, Rafael Demestre, who was here last meeting. Was last meeting, right? I think so. He's not driving this. This is a car he drove around the world in 2012, but he also now has a Model S, and he's going to drive the Model S in ADE days. Here's Team Germany 1. There are actually now two German teams, and they're obviously going to drive the Model S here. Oh, I'm sorry, I took these out. This is the German team that just dropped out, which is totally understandable to me. That's a mother-daughter, and the daughter just turned 18, which I never thought was a good idea for her to try this. here's the Chinese driver, Andrew Zong, or Zong Yi is his Chinese name, and he has an employee of his, Wendy Wu, driving with him. Actually, that shows he has 4 Model S's for his business, but he's going to drive a Denza, which is made by a joint venture between BYD and Mercedes in China. So now, this is a relatively new addition. This is a bus company in Hungary that is going to try and drive this bus around the world. No joke. No joke. 150 kilowatt hour battery pack. What did they say? I think he gets 300 kilometers, 200 miles range. The problem is charging it. Even if he got a direct 63 amp outlet to plug into, at 400 volts, it's still going to take him a long time to charge. Personally, I don't know how he's going to keep up, but anyway, they're going to give it a shot, which is nice. And then there's me. Everybody knows that. Okay, here's the Czech team. He's going to drive his Model S. He's one of many Europeans who likes to decorate their cars. For us, that's unusual. For them, that's not a big deal. Yeah, right. So here's an Italian. He bought his Tesla Model S, took delivery in January of this year just to do ADE days. So, and this is his daughter, his co-driver. And here's the second Swiss team. Beat looks like beat, but is pronounced Beat, and Rudy, and Beat's a doctor, so that'll be nice to have along, just in case. And he said he has 3 months of sabbatical coming to him, so he's going to fit 80 days into the 3 months. Okay, here's Fabian and his brother Gordon. Germans, young, I'd say probably not more than 30 years old, something like that. And he is a driving fool. I think his family sort of supports him, and he will just drive off. And you say, hey, I want this, boom, he's there in his car, not in flying. In fact, he's nice enough. He's offered to drive up to Rotterdam, meet me there, give me some RFID cards for charging, just so I can drive from Rotterdam to Barcelona and get started. So he's amazing. And then here's an Austrian team, husband, wife. Very Austrian picture, isn't it? Oops, I think that's it. So anyway, any questions? Yes.
Alan, are you still planning to do the Periscope live?
Yes. Oh, in fact, I just happened to bring some cards here that has all that stuff on it. Yeah, if you want to even just come up afterwards and get them. Yes. So in fact, just last night we got confirmation that Vodafone, a cell company in Europe, is going to provide us 30 gigabytes a month per car for us to communicate Wi-Fi wise, and 30 gigabytes is enough for video uploads and stuff. So that's what we're going to do. The plan is, actually the requirement is, each team will have a GoPro. We just got that confirmation, a GoPro Hero 4. Anybody who knows GoPro knows what that is. In the car, and we will upload that every night to the Bucharest office, and there's going to be somebody there who will take the video feeds from all of the cars and edit them all down and put them together and put them on the website every day. So, and also if and I will do my own with my cell phone. I've got that Periscope on my cell phone, so I have a website as well, and there will be a link to my website on the main ADEdays.com website, and if you want to get a hold of me, I will have my cell phone with my regular number. I think most people have that from all these emails I send out. And the text, I have AT&T and an international plan, and texting is for free. So I'm not going to take any phone calls, but I will take texts. They'll be free for both of us. And so, you know, that any you know, instantaneous questions or information you need, you can text me, and I'll respond if I'm awake. And yeah, so that's the best way to contact me is text.
Still kind of talk about fundraising yet, or
you know, as it's turned out, none of the Europeans or Chinese, and so everybody but me, could not figure out how to charge in the U.S. So I went to ChargePoint and got RFID cards for all of them and had to send them out. Nobody could figure out how to get liability car insurance in the U.S. and you have to have it. So guess who did that? And there's been a lot of stuff that I've had to do that I just haven't had time to go out and get sponsors. So it would be great, but don't think so. Sorry? Oh, don't believe me. We've tried Tesla. That's not a good topic to bring up here right now.
How do we get a Team USA? That's your team number there? Your team color?
That is. Well, it's the reason I chose this color is this is actually the official color that when you go on the 80days.com website, and you can track all the time live where each car is because of this cell connection. The color for my route will be this, they call it violet. And so this is a perfect match, right? So anyway, it's as close as I could get. So that's what the reason for the red is, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yes?
Are the cars going to all try to stay together during the whole trip?
Well, the only place where we have to stay together is China, because the Chinese government has a rule that you have to have a guide with you, a sanctioned guide, I guess you'd say. And we only have 2 guides, maybe 3 for the entire group. And since 2 of us are going to go off because we can't fast charge, we'll have 1 guide, probably in my car because the Roadster will be full. And so the other 10 cars will have the other guide. So we'll have those 2 groups going across China. Otherwise, we're on our own. And to be honest with you, I haven't heard any talk other than the Swiss guy and I and the Chinese are going to stay together just because we have similar charging requirements. So yeah, the 3 of us will be driving together. The others, I'm not really sure. I don't know.
Do you have like approximate dates when you're going to be in certain locations?
I do. We start June 16th. We will be in New York on June 25th. San Francisco, July 4th. Guangzhou, China, will be leaving. There's an event on the July 15th, and we leave on the 16th. And then Urumqi, Western China, on the 27th, I believe it is. And, you know, I forget the rest exactly. I can send that around. Maybe I can send it to Bruce and he can send it to you guys. Okay.
I'm Brian Hahl, owner of Thunderstruck Motors in Santa Rosa. I've been playing with EVs for over 20 years. I started out racing, doing drag racing with a group called NBEAA, the National Electric Drag Racing Association, and started building hot rods to race down the drag strip. And now we made a business of it, doing conversions, selling parts. And this is my latest endeavor is this tractor. So this is my tractor. I bought it from a guy right down the street. It had a blown diesel motor in it, 3-cylinder, 23 horsepower. It's a Chinese tractor, kind of cheaply made. I got it for $1,000. And I installed an AC50. It has twice the horsepower and about 4 times the torque than the diesel motor that came out of it. So it should have plenty of power. The diesel motor would rev to about 3,000 RPM, and this one will rev to 6,000 RPM. So it's a little scary, but it can actually move down the road pretty fast. With these tires, it's pretty kind of a bumpy ride. The hydraulics is a secondary motor that's off to the side here. This is a proof of concept vehicle. I'm building it.
There, I don't remember him having it.
Yep.
How far can it go? I mean, as far as all day, working all day?
No, a couple hours.
Okay. Really cool.
So my plan, actually, we build a lot of kits for sailboats out there, and a lot of people are very concerned about being stuck out on the water, running out of power. So a lot of people will install a generator, a gas-powered generator to supplement that. I think it's mostly just to make them feel more comfortable out there. But we don't have very much experience. I've been a pure electric vehicle guy for 20 years. And I think with this tractor, I'm going to mount a diesel, probably a gas, actually, a gas generator on the front to supplement this so I can get a little bit of hybrid experience and see what it takes to keep it running all day long instead of just the 2 hours of the batteries. The other option for vehicles like this is to have a quick change battery pack. We were talking earlier about lawn tractors. There's a company called Greenworks that makes a garden tractor now for cutting grass, and has removable battery packs or 80-volt lithium packs that work really good if you could have one on the shelf charging. You could run one, and when you run out of juice, you can just swap them out pretty quickly and keep on cutting the grass.
Like a cordless drill?
Like a cordless drill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same kind of thing could be done with a tractor this size.
Okay. So you think there's going to be a market for electric tractors in this agricultural community?
Well, there's a number of people that have come into the shop for other reasons and have seen this and they want to buy it. So there is definitely a market. I don't know that I really want to build them, but I want to know how to build them and sell people parts so they can build them.
Okay. And would you have that on different platforms? You know, they're going to come to you with an existing tractor and say convert it, or
right. Yeah, everyone's going to be a little different.
Okay.
That's the biggest problem. Able to actually cut the motor in half, or cut the bottom part off of it, and utilize the bottom of the motor that still bolted to the bell housing, and then add a few extra supports to it. So I wanted to have more control over the hydraulics so it could run at different speeds. So, you know, I actually...
The drag shaft right there?
Probably. See, I could run it real slow. I could vary the speed. So, and if I hook it to the traction motor has to be spinning all the time.
Oh, right, you could sit and
So,
just...
yeah. So it would have to simulate the idling of the diesel motor.
Right.
So I want to try to avoid that. But, and it could be done with a larger electric motor.
Is there a
So it has regen braking. So it's generating power. This is geared pretty low. That I was just driving in third high. So if I was to put it in first low, it just crawls along.